All right, welcome back. We are here because I'm hearing from parents that the kids thought it was fun and novel to be home with you. But now, for many of us, the kids are not listening anymore. And it's getting under a lot of people's skin, and it's getting really hard. I've heard an increase in meltdowns and tantrums, an increase in power struggles. It's getting real, y'all. And so one of the things that we're going to be really looking at today is making sure that you all have some really key mindset tools to shift the way that you look at the situation so that you are able to have the right questions and put your attention on the right things that will get you better listening and more cooperation in those moments. Okay, so that's what we're going to be going over today. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm wondering if you could let me know, what is it that the kids, you're finding yourself repeating over and over and over again with the kids right now? Please put it in the comments, whether you're listening on the business page or you're over here in our Raising Our Resilience parent group. I want to know what is it that you say over and over again that the kids are not listening to? Is it maybe put that down, or take a turn, or pick up your stuff off the floor, or what is it? Write it right now in the comments. Let me know so that I can see it in our Facebook feed here, and I can have a chance to address your specific not listening moments. Okay, let me know. Even if it's in the replay, write it in there and tag me in it. Let me know, and we'll jam on this, because this is something that I can help you with. Okay. So type it in the comments. And what I want to do, I'm just going to pull it up here so I can see your comments. What I want to do today is go over a series of mindset shifts that do help parents lead, help parents go from feeling like they're reminding over and over and over again to getting to a place where the kids are actually listening, following along, even cooperating. And why I'm going to do these mindset shifts today is because I think that there are many of you that could benefit from a free 3-day training that I'm putting together for next week called Setting Limits That Stick. And I want you to have these resources in your hot little hands, like, so that you can use them to, like, right away today, and then especially after next week's training with the kids right when they need it. Okay, so let's get down to this. I mean, every day is precious here. Don't you agree? I mean, there's just so much happening each day with the kids that we don't want to miss these opportunities to connect with our kids and help them get more on board with the daily schedule, with your rules and rules and expectations. We want everybody here together, right? Through this quarantine, trying to make the most of this time, or at least at the very least, feeling like we're surviving, like we're coming out of it. We're coming out of it better instead of worse, at least getting through it. So what I want you to do, if you haven't yet already, if you're here listening, go ahead and go into the comments and let me know, what is the thing that you find yourself repeating over and over and over again with your kids? This was our daily check-in as a teacher with my co-teachers. We would have a classroom. At one point, there was 4 of us with 48 kids, and we would have to get on the same page as a team, as a teaching team, and then get the kids on board as a whole classroom community. You can imagine, right? Over and over again. You're doing a mini version of this at home right now if you have the kids full time. We have to get tasks done, like home tasks, work tasks, and you're also trying to guide the ship, help the kids get along through their schedule so they can be rested, well fed, possibly even get some homework done if they're homeschooling, right? And actually like each other at the end of the day enough. So one of the key things I asked my folks to do, my team to do, was notice what reminders or requests are you making over and over and over again? Which ones are those? Okay. That's the very first kind of sign, like a little flare going up that something, this expectation or piece of the routine or request needs more attention, and it needs it soon. because every time you're repeating yourself over and over and over again and not getting the response that you're hoping for from your kids is going to be a strain on the relationship. And it's going to help you flip your lids more and more, lose your calm, lose your cool, do things like yell or give punishments or bribes that you wish you didn't have to do. Okay, so let me know what those are in the comments, even if you're watching the replay. Put them in the comments right below. So what I want you to notice are these requests or limits or rules that you keep having to reinforce over and over and over again. And whatever that one is, I want you to take some time and consider what would happen if you got really, really, really clear about exactly what it is that you want or are requesting in that moment. Are you just asking them to clean up, or are you asking them to pick their toys up off the floor and put them in the bins, put their dirty clothes in the laundry hamper, and then put like one more cleanup thing, right? And put the dishes into the sink. If you stay in more vague general terms and vague land and not be very, very crystal clear about what it is that you want the kids to do, then you're going to end up having a lot more conflicts about what it is. Now, the younger the kid, the more concrete and clear that you need to be. And I would even argue for the teenagers as well, because their brains are reorganizing and they need us to be like really clear with them. So my first mindset shift that I'm offering to you, and we'll be going deeper in this in our 3-day training next week, which is understanding that what you want isn't always obvious to the children. Okay? What you want isn't always obvious. And so the remedy to that is to get really clear about what it is you do want. And I would say if you focus on the 1, 2, or 3 things that you find yourself repeating over and over again, you are going to change daily life dramatically. Okay. So the first one is getting really clear and not assuming that what you want is obvious and being as concrete as possible. Okay. Now the next thing is to acknowledge that we're going to aim even further than just getting the kids to listen to us. And let me back up and say, I always like to look at the short term and the long term simultaneously. And this is like a practiced art. Like I want my kid to do the thing and listen to me, and I want to be tracking their development as a person, so that they're learning some life skills from me while I'm imparting, while we're getting them to on board with what we want. Okay. Hi, Christina. Nice to see you on the business page. You're going to want to hop over to the parent group soon to see the whole training, because we're going to transition over there in a bit. Okay. So we're going to want to take, take the short-term goal and the long-term goal and combine them and make sure that we're addressing things on both levels. Okay. So the short-term goal could be getting your kid to pick up their clothes off the floor. Let's say that's the one you find yourself asking over and over again. It's like, how is this possibly such a conflict, right? Why are we in a power struggle? We're still stuck in this. So we're going to take that. We're going to do the first thing and get really clear about exactly what it is that you want. And the second thing is I'm going to want you to stretch from just getting the kids to listen to actually moving towards, hey, I want to be on the same team as my kid. I want my kid, when they're a teenager and they're going off and they're trying to solve a problem about like maybe something unsafe was happening in their car, their friend wasn't respecting their rules. We want to give them a model of how you would address that and kind of get on the same page with other people that you have in your lives. Yeah. And so we're going to keep those two things together. So the short-term listening is doing things like making sure they understand the why. Why do you want them to follow this request? Making sure they understand the impact that they're having on others, yeah, or even on themselves. Like you always get stressed out when you don't take care of this the night before, and then in the morning you like don't even want to get out of bed. Remember, right? Those kinds of things. The short term, right? And we want to build a rapport with our kids where we're actually trying to solve the same problem together. More, and I turn my body, because like, instead of it being like do this and they either push back or comply, which we don't necessarily want to create that dynamic for them where they have those two choices. They either need to kind of like fold and give in without any argument, which is kind of a submissive submissive way of going about life, right? Conformity and submission, or in obedience, right? Or to create this like fighter where anytime somebody comes to them with a request, they're going to push back and fight to the bitter end. We want to get out of those extremes, right? Because neither one has that long-term outcome that we want of a child who, of a young adult and later an adult, you know, who can work on a team, who can show this kind of leadership that's really attractive, right? For other people to kind of go along and support their vision and their goals and things. So for us to model that, we're going to not want to give them something to push back on. We're going to want to look at the issue or the problem together, side by side. Okay. And so instead of this model, we're going to try to really go like this and say, sweetie, I want to acknowledge that there's this thing that I keep repeating and it's not really working out for us because it keeps creating this fight or this feeling of like, I have to like overpower you, get big and loud, however you want to describe it. Right. And say, you know what I'd really love is for us to figure out how this can happen in a way that we both agree and we both can feel good about. Okay. And more on that, on how to have that conversation in the 3-day training next week. I can't possibly cover it in this Monday, but that's the key right there, the mindset key. And then the third one I want to give you is that you absolutely do not have to waste your time talking this through and feel like you're just like talking to the air and nothing happens, because that's what the experience of these little moments adds up to, is this feeling, right, of like, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter how many times I tell my kid, they're not going to listen, and you feel defeated, or you double down and give a consequence, like I'm going to take your screen time away if you don't listen to me. And now you're using this like leverage point that doesn't even feel right. Like, why am I using screen time as a punishment? How many of you have done that? You say, I hear you. If you've done that, put, I hear you. I've used screen time. And yeah. And guess what? You're not alone. Almost every single parent who comes to me ends up in my group, ends up in my trainings, my workshops, ends up in my retreats, ends up in my year-long academy, has used screen time as a punishment in order to get some leverage to motivate their kid to get on board with something. So you're not alone. But what I want to offer you is an alternative so that it doesn't feel like life is defined about whether or not they get the screen time or not, because that can happen. We can get into a cycle of that where it's like your only card you can pull, right? And the meltdowns happen and it's like really hard. So what I want you to consider is that it could actually save you time, these 100 little conversations, and also save you from having to use punishments and rewards that you don't really feel good about. You can actually save that time if you spend the time to set up your limits and your rules and your expectations really well collaboratively, reviewing by being clear, by focusing on the ones that really matter. They're the ones that are like recurring and are not going away on their own, by making sure you're getting everybody on board on the same team, working towards the solution. And then the last piece would be that you are prioritizing their long-term learning, right? So that you can catch yourself in that moment and go, I don't want to wage a war over this small battle because I don't want to continue teaching that you have to give in or you have to overpower model, right? I'm going to actually step back, take a moment, and maybe revisit this tonight and let this one go. What? Yeah, you're a teacher, Vanessa. You're an educator. Aren't you a stickler about the rules? Don't you always want the kids to follow through with perfect, conformity, perfect, onboardness? It's like, not always, actually. Sometimes we actually need to step back and let it go and give everybody a little space. And also kind of see what happens when you do that, when you do something different, whether it's backing off or leaving the room or just saying, I don't know this time, but we're going to talk about this tonight. And you just walk, give it some space, give it some room. Because that long-term goal of having a positive relationship and of teaching them a model of power with instead of power over, which they can become the dominant or the conformity side of that, is worth it. As a matter of fact, it really builds relationships based on love, respect, appreciation, trust, that mutual feeling of, we got this, we're on the same team, we can go forward together. And I've taken families who battle every single daily, every morning and every night, to a couple times a week to once a week. I've gotten them there in like 6 months. Yeah, it takes time. But even in the even just from taking what you learned today and even coming to the 3-day training next week, will set you up for the next step, right? And get you some changes in your home life in just 3 days. And then once you put those into practice, you get to see what it's like to have mentorship in your parenting world. And you get to see what it's like to do that with other people. And you get to see what it's like when you don't have to you really don't have to parent alone, and you can be part of a village. I'm going to say a little bit more about that and the training in the parent group. So if you're on the business page, I think Christina is, go ahead and put visit group and throw in your request questions so we can welcome you. Okay, we'd love to see you over there. All right, so right here in our group, I have a really special announcement for us. 2 things. First one is we have a great contest going right now. And this contest is easy. It's one of the easiest ones. We had a great easy Halloween one last year, and now we have a really easy one for the spring. We want to make it super easy for quarantine time, okay? All you have to do is post a photo. And you get to decide if you want to get real and like about a parenting struggle, like what you feel like is a parenting fail. And I mean fail like in the most tongue-in-cheek way, just like, oh my gosh, parenting fail right here. Like my kid got into the chocolates, ate them all, and I had no idea because I was too busy working on my emails for work. It could be something in picture of them like, oh, with their chocolates. Like really, any parenting win, any parenting fail is welcome, and let us know what the hardest part was, or if you think it was funny, write something funny about it. You could also be just a really deeply sincere one, like, my kid keeps pulling my hair, and here's a picture of that. Like, this is the hard stuff. We are in a safe container of our group where we have created the safety of, I can share the hard, share the hard, you know what, here, and get support and be loved and seen and understood and supported. Okay. So parenting fails or parenting wins. And this is the other side of the coin is, let's celebrate when we do something well. Whether it was like, I pulled off an art project at home, even though things have just been so overwhelming. I pulled off one art project. We got outside today for an hour, and I just remembered how much my kid loves climbing trees. Another win could be, I taught my kid a new life skill, right? Some of the chores stuff we were talking about earlier this month and last month. Like I taught my kid how to unload the dishwasher, and now they're excited to do it tomorrow, in a photo of them in front of the dishwasher. Whatever it is, one photo, and then just go and love up some other photos in the contest, at least 3 to qualify. Okay. Not too hard, right? Really fun. And this is a great time to invite friends into the group and have them participate too for the prizes. Okay. One of the prizes is going to be the opportunity to have time with me, right? One-on-one, and get some support. And there's some other prizes to be revealed, but I think you'll really enjoy them. Why this contest? Because we need each other. We need to see each other. We need to be seen. Let's share right here in this group and get our community going and our conversations going. Secondly, I want you to really think about the normalizing the fact that parents are having a hard time, and letting yourself have a moment to share and be seen, but then also like celebrating the wins and that being okay too. That we don't have to live in one or the other, where, oh, I'm the one who's failing and they're always celebrating, and I'm the one who's celebrating, and oh, I feel bad about celebrating because other people are not having such an easy time at home. Guess what? All of it is welcome, and it can all be embraced together when we approach it in a supportive, loving community that we're building here. Okay, so that's the photo contest. The second one, which I'm really excited about, is a 3-part series where you'll get this like handy guidebook all about how to set limits that stick. I'll walk you through the mindset pieces that we just went over today, but I'm going to go deeper into specific ways you can do things like not saying it just once and not having to repeat yourself over and over again. How to offer choices in the moment when you're having to reinforce the limit. How to set up agreements ahead of time so that your kid can anticipate what is happening next in terms of a limit. Okay. So what I would love for you to do is click on the event in our group, which is a private event just for our group. Go ahead and click on that and just RSVP so you get the notification, so that you'll get a bing, hey, come hang out. It's 10 o'clock next week, right? And you'll be able to also see all the comments and responses and things. It'll come to the top of your feed. And that way you can stay engaged with the next steps of creating your own personal roadmap out of overwhelm, with repeating yourself over and over again, not having listening, and getting to a place where the kids are really on board, really listening, and really with you. Okay, that's what I want for you. It's my gift to you next week, a 3-day training just for our group. Again, a great time. If you haven't done it already, go over to the little invite section of the group page, and just, if you just put in people's names, all you have to do at the top is put a little message like, come join me for this in this great parent group where there are these free trainings before next week. So that way folks can join the group and be able to attend for free. It's really a gift to your friends if you do that, and it helps us build that masterminding experience, and we have more eyes and more thoughts and more hearts and involved. Okay. All right, folks, that's it for this Monday Mindset. I hope it served you well. I know that you got this. You can do this. We believe in you. In my parent coaching practice and in my immersion, my year-long academy, we always say, I hear you, I see you, I hear you, I believe in you, you got this. Okay, see you next week for the training. Hope you play in the contest, and looking forward to seeing those photos. Bye for now.